It is the final WWE pay-per-view event before the Showcase of the Immortals, WrestleMania 33. Milwaukee, Wisconsin witnessed the Monday Night Raw exclusive pay-per-view event known as Fastlane, the third annual Fastlane. In the same arena that we witnessed the explosion of the Mega Powers 28 years ago, 28 years later, we had another explosion. And it was Fastlane here tonight. Hello, friends, and welcome to this very special edition of Ridiculously Raw. It is the recap of Fastlane. I am your host, the ridiculously over gentleman, Anthony Florio, joined, as always, by the host of the Cerebral Smack Talk, good old MF, Michael Fletcher. We got the phenom, Michael Bullock, fresh off of his phenomenal performance as part of the Special Olympic Super Plunge. Well done, my friend. It's great to have you with us. And we also have the First Lady of the Wrestling Forum as well, the Twisted Angel, Dee Dee Woodson. What a night indeed, my friends. And I got a feeling at the end of this show, we might be subject. I want to make sure I have my facts, and I want to, be like Jim Calhoun. I want to have my facts and come back and see this individual. But I got a feeling we might be subject to a Cerebral Viper rant at the end of this show, if you know what I mean. So that's basically all there is to say on that. So without any further ado, let's get into the business here. Final pay-per-view for WrestleMania, and here we go. It's Fastlane, and let's get into it. We started off with a pre-show. We're not going to review it, but I will. Cruiserweight tag team match, Rich Swann and Akira Tozawa going up against the Brian Kendrick and Noam Dar. It was Rich Swann and Akira Tozawa winning the bout in 9 minutes and 21 seconds in a match that I gave 2.25 stars. It was a solid cruiserweight matchup. So with that being said, let's get into it. Here we go. Now let's go on to the main card, and this is where we all jump in now. Open season here. And what a way to start it off with one of the main events of the evening. The Samoan submission machine, Samoa Joe, going up against the underdog of the underground, Sami Zayn. 9 minutes and 50 seconds, the time of the fall. And the winner of the match, it was Samoa Joe with the Coquita clutch in about 10 minutes. 2.75 stars. Teetering on 3 here. What else is there to say? I wasn't not surprised. We all knew Joe was going to win this fight. That was the theme of this event. And the match was what it needed to be, with Joe continuing to look dominant. If anything, Sami Zayn got a little more offense than I expected, but Joe looked like a monster, badass heel and dominated, with the exception of some hope spots. So yes. You know what? I don't like that 2.75. I'm just going to straight up give it 3, because that was a 3-star bout. And I know it's nothing like what Michael Fletcher saw back in the days of ROH when those two were going at it with Samoa Joe and El Generico. But nonetheless, though, I thought it was a solid enough bout, and not quite fight of the night level, but it's one of my top fights of the night for sure. And that's all there is to say on that. So Samoa Joe, big win for him. He wins in his WWE pay-per-view debut. Wouldn't have made sense to put Zayn over, so nice win for Joe. So 3 stars, that's my rating. 2.75 is the absolute worst I would give it. So MF, Michael Fletcher, come on in. Samoa Joe, Sami Zayn, you saw many of their bouts in ROH. Did this one deliver on your end? I'm very curious as to what you think about that.
I think it was a good opening match. If your WWE standards, it filled what it needed to be. A hot start, good action, good match, plenty of good things to talk about the fight. I was a little disappointed that Sami didn't get a little more offense. I was hoping for more from Sami, but I think it served the purpose. Joe is the monster heel. He's going to be the guy that nobody's going to want to deal with, nobody's going to want to fight or face or whatever. So for me, I'm happy with the outcome of this fight. Samoa Joe looks monstrous. Sami, you can't say nothing bad about it. It was just a bad, unfortunate loss, but he comes out of it looking good. You know, it wasn't a complete wipeout. It wasn't a complete wash. It was good for what it was worth. I could give it that 2.75 to 3 stars. I agree with that. It was a good match. I'll give it to you.
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, I do agree. I mean, 2.75 to 3 stars is my rating on the match as well. Yeah, it was a good opening matchup for the pay-per-view. Yeah, Sami Zayn did get in some offense. I did want to see a little bit more, but I'm fine with it as well. You wanted to see Samoa Joe as this dominant badass heel, and he certainly showed it tonight, and with what he did in the ring. Especially with that coquina clutch submission hold, which is a devastating hold. So yeah, nice win for Samoa Joe in his Raw pay-per-view debut. What's next for Samoa Joe? We're just gonna have to wait to find out. 2.75 to 3 stars. Good match to start off the Raw pay-per-view Fastlane. So, Dee Woodson, I give it to you.
Hey, I agree with the rating. Good opening match. I have seen better from Joe as well, but hey, this is a good way to start with pay-per-view. Good way to get everybody tuned in. So I don't have much more to say about it, so let's move on.
And we move on to the first of our 4 championship matches on this event tonight. This is for the Raw Tag Team Championship. The champions, Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, The Club, Too Sweet, going up against the Wrestling Forum's favorite tag team, Enzo Amore, Big Cass. The winners of the bout in 8 minutes and 40 seconds. And still, your Raw Tag Team Champions, Luke Gallows and the Machine Gun, Carl Anderson. Unfortunately, we will not get the Bullock and I had a big celebration plan. Had Enzo and Cass won the belts, we would have had Bullock break out the Enzo shtick like he always does whenever we do our Raw chats. But unfortunately, we're not going to be able to do that tonight. At least for this night, Gallows and Anderson made Enzo and Cass look SAWFT, unfortunately. So Gallows and Anderson keep the belts. MF, we start this one off with you here. Solid tag team title match, and for Enzo and Cass, unfortunately, like the old saying goes, they're still the bridesmaids, unfortunately, and not the bride.
That was the Machine Gun going off because Anderson and Gallows, they are just too sweet. They're still your Raw Tag Team Champions. And that's for Derek Ferrera, Bullet Club, boys. You know how that goes. All right. Say it. I was mildly disappointed with this fight. This was not, it was good for what it was worth. I liked how the match did. The psychology was all right. But I hate to say this, guys, but Big Cass put the boot to Enzo Amore. I know, accidental. It was a mistake. But I hate to say this, guys, but I think Enzo and Cass might be heading for a breakup sometime down the line. Anthony, you alluded very gracefully and very great about the Mega Powers implosion back in 1989. I hate to say this, but I think we might have an Enzo and Cass implosion in 2017. It looks like we might be heading down that road. So who knows? This might be, I hate to do this to you guys, but the Wrestling Forum's favorite tag team could be Splitsville by the end of the year. Maybe even sooner. Maybe after WrestleMania. You don't know. But yeah, I'm sorry. I want to say something better about this fight, and I can't. the moral of the story is I can only just give this maybe 2 stars. And I'm probably being generous with that call. I don't know. I felt like it could have been better. It just was underwhelming for me because, like you said, this is the last pay-per-view heading to WrestleMania. So you're thinking, put all the ducks in a row, everything has to start clicking, and unfortunately, nothing clicked in this match. I don't know if it was just, maybe the psychology wasn't right, the wrestling, because they put their effort in it, but I'm mildly disappointed with this match. 2 stars is my rating. Sorry, Bullock, I give it to you, my friend.
I'm actually going to go lower with my rating. I'm going to say 1.5 stars is my rating on the match. I mean, I do agree it's disappointing. I mean, I wanted to see more out of this, and of course, we had that little bit of a controversial, of course, with it looked like Enzo Amore's foot was on the bottom rope, but basically make it look like his foot never was on the rope. So, and that's another reason why I'm taking some points off and why I'm giving it this rating. So, yeah. So, I mean, I've heard rumors about it, but the WWE Universe is screaming no, 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 no of a Enzo and Cass breakup, but who knows? Maybe it could do wonders for both guys in the singles competition. So we'll wait and see as we officially kick off the road to WrestleMania. So 1.5 stars is my rating. Dee Woodson, I give it to you.
Yeah, I'll agree with you guys on that. 1.5 to 2 stars. Just not not a lot there to really go by with Enzo and Cass, and then the botched up ending. So I'm not going to say too much more about it. So Florio, it's yours.
I'm going to go with MF's rating on this one, 2 stars. Good work down the stretch in terms of making the fans believe the challengers were about to win the tag titles, only to have Anderson and Gallows, quote-unquote, cheat to win. The finish with Enzo's foot being knocked off the ropes gives him and Cass an out. So I got a feeling this feud might not be far from over here. So or might be far from over rather. It was fine, but like MF, never really got into it. It kind of felt like a Monday Night Raw type match anyway. So that's all there is to say on that. So I'm going with MF's rating on this one. Solid 2 stars for me. We move on now to the first of our 2 women's matchups here, as we had the Boss, Sasha Banks, squaring off against Nia Jax. Winner of the match in 8 minutes and 35 seconds. Color us surprised, although we'll color some people surprised, but not us, because when we did the preview show on Thursday night, we actually called this a result. And yes, we got this one. We had this one. The Boss, Sasha Banks, with a unique pinning combination for the 1, 2, 3. The Boss gets the win over Nia Jax, and according to Michael Cole, I believe this is only Nia Jax's second loss in WWE, to go with the loss she had to Bayley on that Monday Night Raw a couple months ago, when Bayley earned the right to face then champion Charlotte at the Royal Rumble. And we got a lot to say about that result a little bit later on, believe us. So, but for right now, it's about the Boss and the Monster. So, Michael Bullock, fresh off your big weekend, let's get you in here. The Boss wins it with a very unique pinning combination, and for Nia Jax, it's only her second blemish here. So, I believe we had this one the other night.
Oh yes, we certainly had this one. I mean, I thought it was a good match. I mean, there were times. I mean, it did look slow, but I'll give these two credit for where it is. I mean, I'll give it about 2 stars, maybe even tinkering on 2.25, if I'm going to be quite honest here. So yeah, some people may have been surprised by the whole by Sasha Banks beating Nia Jax, but I mean, we certainly aren't surprised because we had this one right down the middle. So yeah, and this is not the last you'll see of Sasha Banks. We'll get into that later on. So 2 to 2.25, I'll give it. So Dee Dee Woodson, I give it to you.
I'll go a little higher with 2.25 to 2.5. Yeah, it's about time we see someone actually beat Nia Jax besides just Bayley, and so I wasn't entirely surprised either, even though I missed the preview show due to some family issues. But yeah, this was a very good match. Because Sasha did get, she got a pretty good offense, even though, Nia kept beating her down. She still kept coming back, and she still kept going, toe to toe with her. And, even though you would think that Sasha was broken in half, she'd still come back and still, give it her all to squash her in the end. So not much more I have to say about it, so toss it to you.
I'm going to give it 2 stars for my rating as well. Broadcast team did a nice job of making this out to be a big win for Sasha Banks. I'm very curious to see what they have in mind for WrestleMania and whether this loss keeps Nia Jax out of the Raw Women's Championship picture. But nonetheless, I felt that this was a bit better than their first singles bout earlier this year with an invested crowd, but it was a bit clunky down the stretch, and they telegraphed the fluke win as Jax dominated so much of the bout. So that's really all I can say on that. Nia dominated most of it, but Sasha ends up finding a way to get it done. So well done, Sasha. Congrats to the boss. So, and like Michael Bullock said, this is not the last time we'll be seeing the boss. She's so nice. We get to see her twice. So we'll explain that in a little bit. So, all right. Now, there was an interesting little angle during the Raw kickoff show earlier this evening in General Manager Mick Foley's office. Stephanie McMahon, the commissioner, was not at the show because of quote-unquote airplane issues. So read into that what you will. But Mick Foley was confronted by both Rusev and Jinder Mahal backstage, and Rusev and Jinder Mahal, apparently are no longer a tag team because of what happened last Monday night on Raw. So what happened here is Mick Foley says, how about I'll give the two of you suitable competition and you'll both have singles bouts on the show. You both come out at the same time, and then you can determine who go first and all that good stuff, yada, yada. So they both come out, and Jinder Mahal takes Rusev out, so Jinder Mahal gets the first shot. And who does Jinder Mahal get to face? The leader of the Cesaro section, the one and only Swiss Superman himself, Cesaro. Cesaro wins the match in about 8 minutes and 20 seconds here. I'm going to leave it up to you guys here because I know this probably screams cutout for you guys. So if that's the case, just say the word and I'll give you my liner note on it. So
cut out, move on.
And I assume the same thing for the Rusev bout.
Yeah, same thing with me.
All right. Yes. Of course. I mean, okay. And what is a ridiculously Raw review show, whether it's Raw or a pay-per-view, without a cutout? And well, we got back-to-back cutouts, so I'll take the reins on this one. So rest easy for a moment, my friends. So So just Cesaro beats Jinder Mahal in 8 minutes and 20 seconds. 1 star. Mahal did something truly amazing here. It made Cesaro look completely boring. To say that this was an uninspired match that no one gave 2 craps about would be a major understatement. So that's all I can say on that. And yeah, it was basic filler. That's what it was. And a lot of people watched WWE Network for a pay-per-view match, and a Raw match broke out. At least they could have put a commercial in the middle of the match had this been on Raw. I assumed this was going to be a Cesaro squash win, but it just kept going. So, and it went on, and it somewhat overstayed its welcome. So 1 star for that effort. And then it was Rusev's turn. And who does Rusev get? He gets the world's largest athlete, The Big Show. And The Big Show wins the match after 3 choke slams and a weapon of mass destruction, a knockout punch. About 8 minutes and 37 seconds for that. Another 1 star. This was another bad match, and similar to the previous bout, it felt as if it lasted an hour as Show dominated Rusev. I guess Vince McMahon did not dig Rusev's new haircut. Yeah, Rusev's got a haircut now, and yeah, so, and this is where the show started to go downhill, and not in a good way. So another 1 star. The haircut and breakup with Jinder actually made me think they might do something with Rusev, but instead he was absolutely destroyed by the Big Show, to the point that if this was a different era, I would just assume he was leaving the company or the territory. So, oh my Lord in heaven. So that's really all there is to say about that. You can make an argument for both of these fights as worst fight of the night, but then again, something happened at the end that was really worse. So yeah, okay. So that's it. And for Rusev, I mean, what is going on with this guy? I mean, 2 years ago, he was on top of the world. He was the United States heavyweight champion. And ever since they fed him the scene at WrestleMania 31, nobody has lost more momentum than this guy has. They saddle him with that god-awful League of Nations stable. And now this. Oy, I'm alone. How the mighty have fallen in the case of the Bulgarian Brute. So that's all I can say on that little gripe over there. But now we go into the part of the show where this actually picks up now. Second of our championship matches, the WWE Cruiserweight Championship on the line. Champion Adrian Neville squaring off against number 1 contender, the gentleman Jack Gallagher. Winner of the match in 12 minutes and 10 seconds. And still the WWE Cruiserweight Champion and King of the Cruiserweights. It's none other than Adrian Neville. So I know Dee Dee Woodson doesn't usually like to get into the cruiserweight matches, so I'll leave her out of it out of respect for her. So for me, you can make an argument that this was the fight of the night, or one of the fights of the night, rather. I mean, oh my. I mean, this was a show saver right here. I mean, for the most part, this was a disappointing event. I mean, what else is new? Because it's a Raw pay-per-view. It's not a SmackDown Live event, but this was a show-saving bout right here. 3.5 stars. That was a very good match, and it felt very different style-wise than anything else on the show in a very good way. Yeah, it started slow, but it built up some great intensity and then delivered a great back-and-forth home stretch. Where the Cruiserweight tag match needed energy and some fun spots, this didn't need that as much due to the tone and style that these two worked. I very much enjoyed it. So, oh man. It was, and at that point, it was the highlight of the show. They worked really hard, and some of the near falls were well received. I also love the way Gallagher sat on the ground with his head down afterward to sell the agony of coming up short in the title match, which, as we all know, the biggest match for this young man in his short career in the WWE, bigger than anything he did in the Cruiserweight Classics. So, what a match. And I'm hoping that this match will be the start of something big for the Cruiserweights, because they desperately need it. And I think this was a shot in the arm and a step in the right direction. So well done, Adrian Neville. Well done, Gentleman Jack. That was a Cruiserweight Championship match. And if only we could get more quality bouts like that on 205 Live. So well done. 3.5 stars. One of my co-fights of the night. So MF, your boy Adrian Neville does it again, but you got to give credit where credit is due to the gentleman. What an effort.
Great effort by Jack Gallagher. Definitely no doubt about it. Adrian Neville, I expected that to be the outcome. But this is something I think you're not going to even expect, guys. Best cruiserweight match since the return of the cruiserweight division on Monday Night Raw. This was absolutely amazing. This is what we were waiting for. This was without a doubt for me, because I didn't see the tournament, so I missed it. About the awesomeness like Anthony Florio did, because he was the one that covered it. Even 205 Live, there was maybe a couple of fights that was okay, but this one by far and more than anything else, this was the best cruiserweight match since they brought back the cruiserweight division on Monday Night Raw. It was amazing. Like I said, I got nothing bad to say about it. The energy, the wrestling psychology. This was an unbelievable performance by not only the gentleman Jack Gallagher, because he was amazing, but Adrian Neville. This is what we meant by raising the bar. This is what we meant by, they had to do something to put the shot in the arm of the division. They did it. This is what we wanted all along, what we were hoping and praying for. And not only did these guys deliver, they exceeded my expectations. I mean, this was a damn good fight. 3.5 stars. I could even go as far to call 3 3/4. I could go that high up. I mean, this was amazing. Well done. Michael Bullock, go.
Yeah, 3.5 stars is my rating for this match. I mean, this was a great cruiserweight match, and this is why I'm high on gentleman Jack Gallagher with some of the things he could bring to the table, and like you just mentioned with Neville. I mean, ever since they turned him heel, it's done him wonders. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say because you guys pretty much touched on it. So 3.5 stars. So Florio, let's just move on.
And we move on now to, well, then there was some silliness with the New Day, so we're not going to get into that. But now we get into what all of us here on this show called, what we said was going to be one of the biggest and it had the potential to be one of the greatest Be a Man fights of all time. And here we go. It was on. The big dog, Roman Reigns, squaring off against the monster among men. Bullet, come on, let's do it. Roar!
Roar!
Braun Strowman. Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman. The time of the fall, 17 minutes and 20 seconds up until, 17 minutes, 10 seconds to 17 minutes and 20 seconds. Nonetheless, the winner of the match, the big dog, Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns with his spear. No big surprise. Roman Reigns goes over. MF, Michael Fletcher. We said this had the potential to be one of the greatest Be a Man fights that we've seen in a recent while. Did it live up to that Be a Man hype?
I'm going to say this. It was better than what the expectations were basically on a, but after Strowman's performance against the Big Show, it elevated that to a higher level, that we were expecting something bigger, something better, everything I know the fans were hoping for. At the end of the night, they delivered. Fight of the night for Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman in my eyes. This was a good match. This was a hard-hitting fight, entertaining, and let me tell you, the visual for the whole thing, seeing these guys not only that, but even using the high flying, the aerials that normally you don't necessarily see in guys like Strowman or Roman. But they really brought it together. They told a great story. I know a lot of people are going to be a little mad because Roman got the win, but then again, come on, it's Roman Reigns. What do you expect? This is one of Vince's boys. He's big time in love with them. But here's the thing. I'm going to say, but Strowman, he loses momentum. Not necessarily. He loses momentum because, but his performance was so good, I don't think he's going to lose any momentum at all. Now, the big question is on Strowman for WrestleMania. Now, I've heard a lot of rumors that he could be profiled in a WrestleMania match. There's even talk about him possibly being in Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royale. I'm telling you right now, ladies and gentlemen, if he's in the Battle Royale for WrestleMania, if he's in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royale, not only is he the odds-on favorite, pencil him down as the winner of the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royale. And let me tell you, they do win the Battle Royale. There's some good that comes out of it. I mean, you get a nice push after. I mean, Antonio Cesaro, look at what he did after he won his year. He's actually clicking now on all cylinders now. Former tag team champion, he's done very good. Baron Corbin won it last year. He's a big bruising fighting type guy. Got a huge elimination at the Royal Rumble, and in all intents and purposes, and in a lot of the dirt sheets, they predicting he could be the Intercontinental Champion at WrestleMania. You win the Battle Royale, you're going to be in a good position. So we'll wait and see what happens. For Roman, let's see what they do with him as well. Could he, obviously he's going to be featured at WrestleMania. What are they going to do with him then? I mean, obviously the title picture is very bleak for Roman. I'll get into that a little bit later on. But he definitely is going to be in a high-profile match going into WrestleMania. Of course, rumors about him and Taker, but I actually heard another rumor about another fight for WrestleMania. We'll wait and see. But for me, I gotta call it another 3.5 stars, maybe 3 3/4. This was unbelievable. Great match. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna say 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star. I mean, this was a definite be a man fight, and one I certainly enjoyed, and I know some people are gonna say this kills some of the momentum for Braun Strowman, but I agree. I mean, it's just for tonight. I think somewhere down, he'll get that momentum back, and yeah, I mean, if he's in that Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal at WrestleMania, he's definitely going to win it, as far as I'm concerned. So, yeah, so nice win for Roman Reigns. So, yeah, so what's next for the big dog? What's up with him for WrestleMania? Obviously, a lot of people are saying it's going to, I mean, to me anyway, I think it's going to end up being him against The Undertaker at WrestleMania, because, I mean, as you heard him saying after the match with Braun Strowman, he said, "This is my yard." I mean, if that doesn't scream an Undertaker Roman Reigns match at WrestleMania, I don't know what will, because he's using that phrase that The Undertaker always says, "This is my yard." So we'll wait and see what happens. So 3.5 to 3 3/4 stars. So Dee Woodson, I give it to you.
Yeah, I agree. 3.5 to 3/4 stars. Definitely fight of the night. And I will have to agree, even though I don't usually do cruiserweights, that that was a good cruiserweight, and I'll give it to the second best fight of the night, even though I don't normally do cruiserweights, and I still am protesting cruiserweights because I don't think they should be on Raw, but that's just my opinion. Reigns and Strowman, it was, to me, it was definitely a BMM fight. It was definitely, one of the highlights of the show, and not much more to say about it. So I'll toss it over to you.
Yep, I agree. This was the fight of the night, no doubt about it. It was a 3.5-star bout. I can make an argument for co-fights of the night between this one and the cruiserweight match, but the idea is that Strowman would have won the bout had Reigns not avoided that top rope splash. So there was some attempt made to protect him. But the bottom line is that Strowman took his first high-profile loss. To some, it feels premature, and I didn't really feel like this was the right stage to do it on. But I don't believe Strowman suffered major damage here. But it's still disappointing to see him lose in the latest attempt to make Reigns the top babyface. I don't even mind that Reigns was the guy who beat him, as much as it's too bad it happened so soon. That said, the match was entertaining, and the big man performing that splash off the top was quite the visual, if you know what I mean. And with Reigns being programmed against Undertaker for WrestleMania, you knew that he was going to win clean here. With that being said, I felt they really did their best to protect Braun, who even in loss looked really good, repeatedly surviving Reigns' best shots. Reigns got to slay the beast ahead of his eventual Mania bout with the Undertaker, gaining momentum. So that's all I can say on that. So very good match. Be a man fight indeed. So well done. So very good fight. Fight of the night. You could definitely make the argument on that. No doubt about it. Now we move on to the third of our championship matches and the second women's match of the evening for the Raw Women's Championship. Champion Bayley defending the title against the challenger and former 4-time Raw Women's Champion Charlotte Flair, the queen of the pay-per-views, 16-0 going in. Ladies and gentlemen, make it 16-1. The impossible has happened. Yes, I'm channeling my inner Vince Scully here from the 1988 World Series. And what I mean by that is the winner and still the Raw Women's Champion, Bayley, does the unthinkable. Yes, he had some help from Sasha Banks, what have you, but nonetheless, Bayley is still the Raw Women's Champion. Hug life. Hug life rules. Michael Bullock, how about it? Your girl did it, man. The impossible happened tonight.
Yes, she did the impossible. She ended the pay-per-view winning streak of Charlotte, but not without some help from Sasha Banks. So to me, I mean, this was a really good match. Don't get me wrong, but I can only give it 3 to 3.25 stars. I mean, it was still a good match. I mean, take nothing away from what these women did, but it's just the involvement with Sasha Banks was, I just think, took some of the as I like to say, the mojo away from the match. But yes, Bayley ends the streak, but I get this feeling after what we saw. I mean, why am I getting this feeling that it's going to be Sasha Banks against Bayley for the Raw Women's title at WrestleMania? I mean, from what I've been seeing, I think Sasha's probably going to turn heel, and that's going to end up leading to Sasha and Bayley for the Raw Women's title as WrestleMania. So just my opinion. So 3 to 3.25 stars is my rating on the match. Dee Woodson, I give it to you.
Yeah, 3 to 3.25 stars. I'm not going to complain too much about Sasha's interference because, look how many times we've had interference where Charlotte ended up winning. And then, of course, we had earlier in the pay-per-view the interference in the tag team match. So if they can do it with the tag team match, I guess they can do it with the women's title. It was a very good match. I mean, these girls went toe to toe. They gave it their all. They didn't. I think they popped out of each other's finishers 2 or 3 times, surprising each other each time. But congratulations to Bayley. Proud of her. So not much more I'm going to say about that. So over to you.
Yep. And not only is Michael Bullock happy, but I know another individual who's a member of the Hugger section who I'm sure is probably going through the roof, who I'm sure went through the roof when Bayley won the bout. Our good friend Luigi PS3 on YouTube, Lauren. I bet she must have lost her mind. I have not seen her reaction video yet, but I bet if I know her, considering the big Bayley mark that she is, even bigger than you, Bullock. And I thought there'd be no bigger Bayley mark than Bullock, but I know she probably lost her mind in a good way. But nonetheless, I agree with the rating, 3 to 3.25 stars. So the babyfaces essentially screwed Charlotte at the title win here. In theory, this could lead to a great story leading to the rumored Mania 4-way, as Bayley should be upset and accuse Banks of thinking that she can't win on her own and that she is not a deserving champion. I know there are some who have no desire to see the 4-way because the Bayley and Banks angle is way more interesting, but they're not going to keep Charlotte out of the title match, not at WrestleMania, no way. As for the bout, it was very good, but it was far from their best. It felt off a few times, including the Tree of Woe spot. They've had better and are capable of way better, as we have seen. And it also felt like a very poor way to end Charlotte's streak, which should have been a bigger moment. But instead, it was lost in the overbooked finish. So, what a strange night. Nia loses a rare match, Strowman's winning streak ends, and Charlotte's pay-per-view winning streak ends because the babyface received help after telling the heel to leave her buddy backstage so they could find out who the better woman was. My guess is that they are telling the story that Sasha wants Bayley to win because she thinks she can beat her, but I honestly don't know what they are going for. This whole storyline is just bizarre and is not making anyone look good and not doing any favors. But other than that, another very good match with Charlotte and Bayley. I still think the one they had on Monday Night Raw where Bayley won the title, that was the best Charlotte Bayley match and some of their efforts from NXT. So 3 at 3.25 stars, third best fight of the night for me. So MF, your thoughts on this Raw Women's Championship match as the unthinkable happens. Charlotte loses on pay-per-view for the first time.
Yeah, she does. Major upset there. No, I think we all were kind of shocked that was the outcome. But as far as the match goes, majorly disappointing. I mean, this was nowhere near the epicness a few weeks ago when Bayley won the title, when they closed Monday Night Raw. This just felt like, I hate to say it, but somewhat of a home diva fight. I was expecting something more, something better, and we got garbage. That's all I'm going to say. I don't understand the Sasha interference. I know they were trying to work her as a heel. It just didn't deliver for me the way I was hoping for. I was hoping for a clean finish, like everybody else. 2 stars. With that said, we'll move on.
Okay, fair enough. And, well, there will be, I got a feeling we are going to have a Cerebral Viper rant coming in a matter of moments. And I want to give a strong, very strong viewer discretion here. Viewer discretion strongly advised for what we're about to get into here. Put the women and children to bed because I got a feeling this is not going to end well. So it was the main event for the WWE Universal Championship. Champion Kevin Owens defending the title against Bill Goldberg. Between 20 and 22 seconds was the time of the fall because there was some mind games and all that good stuff. The bell did not ring for the longest time. And when it did, it only took 20 to 22 seconds. It doesn't matter how you score it time-wise. But the winner of the bout and new WWE Universal Champion, Bill Goldberg. Bill Goldberg is the Universal Champion. He beats Kevin Owens thanks to a distraction from Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho shows up. Man, bada boom. Spear, jackhammer, and a 1-2-3 by referee Chad Patton. Bill Goldberg wins the Universal Championship. He celebrates with his wife and his son as the show goes off the air. That was a nice moment. That's a praise God moment for that family. But, oh boy, let the backlash begin. And I know there's a lot of angry people here. And I know there's a certain Cerebral Viper who's chomping at the bits to unleash his fury because no one's been more critical of it than he has. But nonetheless, Dee Woodson, as we started off with you, our worst nightmare is now a reality. It will be Bill Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship at WrestleMania. All yours, my friend.
Oh, yeah. You can call that mind games if you want. For me, I call what Kevin Owens did at the beginning of the match just being, pardon the lingo, chicken shit. All that before the bell, and then all of a sudden Y2J comes out and the bell rings. Something ain't right in Denmark with this one. That was just. It was like it was almost majorly set up for this to happen. You could pretty much see that this was what was going to happen also. It was too predictable. Of course, I'm not going to give it any kind of rating, but, here we got Goldberg and Lesnar now. And, earlier in the match or early in the show, you had Heyman doing a backstage interview saying how his client is going to do this or do that. And it's like, dude, have you even watched any of the old tapes? Because your client has not beaten Goldberg yet, and they've had 3 matches in their total history together. Come on, dude. But this one, yeah. It's a tainted win in my book. You have that argument with Bailey right now, and now you can have that argument on this one because Jericho coming out to just get his attention long enough for Goldberg to just wipe him out. It makes it look like Kevin Owens couldn't hold his own no matter what. So, and now we have again Goldberg versus Lesnar, and for me, that whether it's for the title or not, that matchup is getting old. That matchup is already past go home with me. I am getting sick and tired of hearing the 2 names put together for one match. Let's just move on with this now. How many times did we have Rock and Cena? Now we're going to have this with Goldberg and Lesnar. I'm tired of it. Go home. Find someone else to let Lesnar pick on and Goldberg pick on. So
yeah, but Dee Woodson, yeah, the Rock Cena thing was boring, but the thing is, they did have some good matches.
Yeah,
Brock Lesnar and Goldberg. That's a totally different story.
Yeah, I know. Cena and Rock have had good matches, yes, but you get tired of seeing the same 2 people in a match 4 or 5 times in a row, and that's where my point comes in.
Oh, I get that.
Yeah, that's where my point comes in. It's not the quality of the match; it's the fact that we have the same competitors again and again and again and again. these writers need to learn, okay, let them fight maybe 1, 2, 3 times, then move on. We don't need to see the same people over and over and over again, fighting the same match over and over and over again, and having the same ending. I mean, we've had 2 matches now where Goldberg has finished Brock Lesnar off in less than a minute. I mean, are we going to go into WrestleMania and ruin another match where Goldberg is going to take out an opponent in less than a minute? Let alone one that's supposed to be so tough that he broke Undertaker's streak. I'm sorry. You know, I'm gonna go with Fletch on this when he does his rant, and you know, I'm sick and tired of Goldberg. I'm sick and tired of Lesnar fighting each other. Let's move on. Let's, you know, if you want to let Goldberg have the title, great. I have no problem with it. It could have been done better than this, and we could have had something more encouraging to look forward to if it wasn't the fact that we have Heyman sticking Lesnar back out there again to compete again against Lesnar. I mean, against Goldberg, and this time throwing up the title into it. I mean, it's ridiculous, you know. So enough said from me. Move on.
No rating to a dud. This was the worst fight of the night, far and away. Oh my Lord in heaven. All right. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. But Goldberg versus Lesnar for the title was the path, so they accomplished what they needed to. What I did like was that Jericho, the guy that repeatedly gave himself up to allow Owens to retain his title, got payback for the Festival of Friendship beatdown, and ended up being the guy that cost Owens the title. This should also give us Owens versus Jericho for the United States Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. That's the only positive I have on that. But other than that, oh, Lord. It would be disappointing that Goldberg won thanks to a distraction if Owens had been positioned stronger than he was during most of his title reign. In a way, it gives Owens an excuse, which is cool, if only because of the character shift he had after the Jericho angles. So, but yeah, nonetheless, our worst nightmare, or Michael Fletcher's worst nightmare, is now a reality. Goldberg wins the bout. I mean, and it went down. It went down exactly the way I said it would. I mean, well, as I honestly thought it would. I knew Goldberg was going to win that in a short period of time. This was not going to be a 5-star Flair. It was not going to be a 5-star Flair Steamboat Classic. You kidding me? No way. Not even close. But predictability at its all-time finest here. I hate predictability, and not a big surprise. I mean, we all knew this was. Everybody and their mother knew that Goldberg was going to win the title. Let's be realistic. If Owens had won that, that would have been the most surprising win I ever saw, surpassing Randy Orton's surprise win at WrestleMania 24, which I still consider the most surprising title win of all time, because I did not expect him to win that bout, but he did. But sorry for another day. But oh man, but Didi makes a great point about Goldberg and Lesnar. They've had 2 matches. WrestleMania 20, we all know how much of a disaster that was in the Garden. And then, of course, the 90-second debacle at Survivor Series, and then Goldberg eliminating Lesnar from the Rumble match. So that was it. And Bullock made a good point, too, about The Rock and John Cena. I mean, WrestleMania 28 was an amazing match. That was a damn near 5-star classic. And then 29, not so much. That was more 3.5 to 4. But nonetheless, here we are again. It's Goldberg and Lesnar, and much to the chagrin of MF, they've added the Universal Championship to it. And does it really need the Universal Championship? Absolutely not. These 2 guys sell alone. But they want to go for the big fight. They want to go for the big fight box office feel. They want to make this feel like a box office attraction, you know, a la, you know, like a Star Wars movie or what have you. But this is not the way to go about it. I mean, you want to blow off the Goldberg and Lesnar angle, that's fine. But do you really need the Universal Championship? You don't. You don't. They sell alone. if anything, it should have been Owens and Jericho for the Universal Championship, not Bill Goldberg and Brock Lesnar. So I think I made MF's points for him, but I know it's not going to stop him from going on what we're about to have, a Cerebral Viper rant. So I strongly advise all of you, viewer discretion strongly advised. MF.
Time to let the Viper out of his cage.
Yes, indeed. And I know he's going to be just like Randy Orton with what he did to Bray Wyatt on SmackDown last week. So there's nothing left for me to say here. Unleash the fires of hell here. So no rating to a dud. Worst fight of the night. Absolute disaster and an absolute calamity and an absolute crock. So MF, your worst nightmare. Well, I'm actually going to do it like Paul Bearer once famously said. Welcome to your worst nightmare, because now it's a reality.
Yeah, it is. I have really nothing to say because I need time more than anything else. So anybody who's looking for a Cerebral Viper rant, you ain't getting one tonight. Yes. 22 freaking seconds for your Universal Championship event for your last pay-per-view before WrestleMania. And you wonder why SmackDown Live is kicking the shit out of Monday Night Raw. There's nothing for me to say. I'm done. Bullet, go.
No comment on me. I got nothing to say about it. Just move on, Florio.
Fair enough. And now we get into our overall review of this event. And while there was mostly positive stuff on this show, there wasn't enough positive. There was way too much negative, way too much predictability. It pains me to do this, but as a Monday Night Raw guy, but overall, this was a really disappointing show with a ton of questionable creative decisions. Perhaps some of those calls will make more sense as we move forward, but it was just sort of an odd night all around. I mean, the only real positives and what saved this show from being an absolute train wreck of a show, Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman, the Cruiserweight match, and the women's match for the most part. Everything else felt TV quality. And then he threw in not one, but two filler matches, which I felt were both a trifle unnecessary. So it was very unnecessary, and not to mention, it really hit us where we live, and that's not a good thing. And if you hit us where we live, we're gonna unleash all kinds of hell on you. So it really, like I said, this is not an easy call for me because I am the Raw guy here. MF just made the point for me. SmackDown Live is far and away the superior show, and the days of Monday Night Raw being the A show, they're long gone. Long gone. It hurts, but Raw, you know I love you guys. I was hoping for the effort, but where was it? Outside of those few bouts. WWE Fastlane 2017 was not, I repeat, not a good show. A lot of things felt like they were just there. Things that I thought would deliver really did not. And the show not only dragged on, but personally, for my taste, did absolutely, positively nothing to get me excited for WrestleMania. Unbelievable. Instead of the fast lane to WrestleMania, this felt like a prolonged rest stop before WrestleMania. Normally, I would do the Bret Hart not impressed here. Well, I'm more than that because it's actually lower than that. My rating for this show tonight, because of my sheer and utter disappointment, because of the horrific booking by Vince McDinkleberg and his bucktooth beaver buddy Kevin Dunn, and everybody else, you all ought to be ashamed of yourselves. You're wondering why the ratings are god awful. You wonder why SmackDown Live is the A's show. And heck, MF, I think you might need to make some room for me on that bandwagon. Because after this effort, this made me sick to my stomach. And I've had a lot of bad tastes in my mouth over the years, but the taste that I have in my mouth right now, maybe the worst bad taste in my mouth I've ever had. My overall rating for this show, 3.5 out of 10. MF, it's yours. Just take it. I'm done.
Disappointing, predictable, outrage at the end. IWC is having a field day with Monday Night Raw right now. They got to ride the ship, man. And even one person went as far to say they are more intrigued and more excited on the SmackDown matches for WrestleMania than they are for Monday Night Raw right now. That's bad if you're talking about it, because I'll bet you anything right now, Raw will probably have more matches heading into WrestleMania than SmackDown, because the roster is more deeper on Raw than it is on SmackDown Live. But at the end of the day, you need to deliver on everything. And let me tell you, fans are not happy with the product. And that is why it needs a reboot. It needs some help. It needs a shot in the arm. And look, it looks like Raw is a sinking ship right now. Everybody's jumping off it like a bubonic plague, for heaven's sakes. For me, 4 out of 10. That's my rating. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
3.5 out of 10 is my rating. I mean, this show sucked, and you kind of want, and people are you kind of are wondering why Monday Night, and people are wondering why Monday Night Raw, their ratings and some of their shows, that most of their shows suck. This is a perfect example of it. And you know what? I'm saying this right now. I'm jumping off the Monday Night Raw bandwagon, and I'm hopping onto the SmackDown Live bandwagon, because at least SmackDown Live, they don't have the deeper talent, but they have the storyline progression. They tell stories that make sense. Monday Night Raw doesn't do any of that shit fest. And yeah, I mean, I feel like taking a dump on Monday Night Raw right now, because this is, I'm done. I'm freaking done with this nonsense. Dee Woodson, please take it. I'm so freaking done with this fucking nonsense.
You want to know how done I'm with it? I'm going to go lower than all of you, and I'm going to give it 2 freaking stars, because there was only 2 matches that was worth anything, and then the women's matches that were in the middle there. But the show, I mean, it wasn't a pay-per-view show. It was a freaking Raw show that just was boring as heck. So, I have not really been on the Raw bandwagon for who knows how long now. And now I have even more reason to stay with SmackDown and keep giving SmackDown the higher ratings and everything, because, they've got the better quality show. They're the new A show for WWE, and I have a feeling that when it's all said and done, we're going to see Stephanie come out this week on Raw and pretty much rake Foley over the coals again, because the show sucked. But it is what it is. These guys, I think they've made our list about 4 or 5 times on how bad the show is, and I don't know how many times I've said I wanted to go down to WWE headquarters and nuke them, but this show, that just gave me one more reason why I need to go down there and either slap some writers around or just destroy it, because this sucks. I mean, there is so much more better quality stuff out there for us to have to sit here and waste 3 to 4 hours watching total crap. So I'm done with it. Move on.
Yeah, move on indeed. And I appreciate you guys' efforts, but let me just say it like this: as the guy who is the raw guy of this. But before I do, Derek Ferreira messaged me saying that he was very upset with what he saw. He joins in all of our frustration tonight, and he went on a profanity laced tirade, which I'm not surprised, because that's how Derek can get. I mean, if Derek does not impress easy, and if you do anything to anger him, he will let you have it. I mean, EDP 445, that ham and egger in Philadelphia, and all that. So that's just one of the examples. And I know this will probably make the list of Ferreira tonight. So it definitely makes all our lists. So okay, I'm just gonna go on a brief little tirade here. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet, because we have things to do in the morning and all that good stuff. But let me just say this before we wrap up. After several weeks, we were having these interesting, newsworthy editions of Monday Night Raw for the last, several weeks now, last couple of months or so. And then we get this tonight? No. I couldn't believe it. I was stunned. I mean, I had high hopes going into this event, I'll be honest. But then it's one minute. I mean, it's like they dangle that carrot of hope in front of us. I mean, that's what happens. And they dangled the carrot of hope in front of me, and naturally, me being the prisoner of the moment that I am, and I'll admit it, I'm a prisoner of the moment. MF's even called me a prisoner of the moment on one of our shows in the past. And yeah, I was a prisoner of the moment, and look what happened. I bought into the hype. And let me just say like this: it's a good thing that a lot of us have the WWE Network, and a lot of us paid only the $9.99 for the WWE Network, because if any of you actually had the cojones to get it on traditional pay-per-view and pay $45 to $50 for it,
I feel so, they're probably asking for their money back right now.
I know I would, but thankfully.
And Derek Ferreira, I just watched this video on my phone. He says he's not looking forward to WrestleMania, no matter if it's Raw or even if it is SmackDown Live, who provides the good stuff.
I'm right there with him. I mean, what else is there to say?
And I'm not looking forward to it either, but I'm still going to watch it because it is WrestleMania. Right.
Yes, it is, and it's the road to WrestleMania. So,
I mean, that's the only reason why I'm still going to watch it.
Of course, and we'll still do our usual chats like we always do when we have the time. So there you go. So let me just close it out with this. Monday Night Raw. Let me just say it like this: one time, like Edge, when there was one time when Edge said this to John Cena, and I'm going to say it to you guys: wake up, wake the f up, you guys.
Yeah, wake the fuck up, you fucking morons.
You stupid idiot mutton heads. I mean, good grief. I mean,
yeah, and guess what happens for you? They just made the list.
Oh yeah, they made the list big time. They're at the top of the list.
The writers are a bunch of idiots.
No. They're ritters. That's what they are. Ritters.
No, they're cheap little rotters. That's what they are.
Or Reuters.
They're still idiots.
Yeah. But nonetheless, you stupid who run money. You ought to be ashamed of yourselves. Like I said, I hope you have your tails tucked between your legs, because that's what you should feel after giving us this crap all of a show. And if you presented this, and if you ran this by me, I would have wiped my ass with it. Honestly, there was no way I would have approved this nonsense. But a lot of meh fights, a lot of predictability, a lot of questionable booking.
I mean, would you still do Ridiculously Raw with the way these shows have been going, especially after what we saw tonight?
This was a bad night. It was a bad night. But, over the last several weeks, like I've said, we've had interesting and newsworthy Monday Night Raws. And I don't know if I should hold out hope. I mean, this is the road to WrestleMania. You need to grab us by the throat and squeeze the life out of us to make
Well,
this
right now, I feel like grabbing them by the throat right now.
What I want to do. Oh, you don't know what I want to do. That's all I can say on that. And I just basically want to say, you cheap little rotters. That's all you are. You're these stupid idiot mutton heads. They're cheap little rotters. I mean, you gave us all these interesting and newsworthy Monday Night Raws over the last couple of months, and then you pull the rug out from under us with this. I mean, of all nights to do it, a night where SmackDown Live, and yet SmackDown Live is still. I'm actually looking more forward to SmackDown Live Tuesday night. Honestly, I'm looking more forward to that mixed tag match with John Cena and Nikki Bella against Ellsworth and Carmella. What does that tell you?
Oh, come on.
Cheap little rotters.
You know what?
What with the way Monday Night Raw is running their, especially after what we saw tonight?
Okay, no. I gotta stop. You guys here. It gets to a certain degree. It gets to a certain point. Yes, okay, Raw sucks. We all get that. But, come on. Better than Ellsworth and Carmella versus Cena and Nikki Bella? Really? We've come down to that. It's gotten
I'll tell
serious.
you this right now. Cena and Nikki Bella are going to wipe the floor of Carmella and Ellsworth.
No, they're not, Bullock. Because I already smell overbooked finish. And as a matter of fact, I'll even go as far to say this. I think Carmella and James Ellsworth is going to win against Cena and Nikki Bella because the Miz and Maurice is going to stick their nose where it doesn't belong.
Very possible.
Oh, if that happens, can you imagine what the WC is going to be like if that happens?
Oh, are you kidding me? They're going to be laughing their asses off. They're going to be celebrating. Anthony used to say the balloons in the party hats are coming out.
Yeah, break out the balloons and the party hats, indeed.
Because of all the haters of John Cena and Nikki Bella.
Exactly.
Let's wrap this up.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, let's put the ball on this because I think we've all had our say here tonight. So let's face it, Monday Night Raw needs a shot in the arm. And let me just say like this: the next draft cannot get here fast enough. Honest to goodness, because this show really needs a repackaging in so many ways. And I hope and pray that they can, somehow right the ship. But after what we saw tonight, I really don't see that happening anytime soon. So, but we'll see. You never know. You never know. So hopefully they make it up to us tomorrow night by giving us another interesting and newsworthy Monday Night Raw. Though I don't know at this point. So that's all I can say on that. So that's it. We're done. We're gonna go and recover now. So that's it for this. So we want to thank you all so very much for tuning in and putting up with our tirades and all that good stuff. So we'll be back with you tomorrow night for Ridiculously Raw. We're going to review all the fallout from Fastlane on Monday Night Raw. I'll also give you my Tony's take on 205 Live and Impact Wrestling. And then on Tuesday, of course, we'll have the Cerebral Smack Talk with MF over on his channel, Brace Fan 95. We'll review SmackDown Live and maybe a Mikey's Mindset. We'll see. And then Friday night, we got Strictly Sports and other content coming up. So, keep an eye out on Derek Ferreira's Facebook or the Strictly Sports or what have you, social media platforms for any future content. We'll be sure to let you know. So that's it. So until tomorrow night for Ridiculously Raw, it's the ridiculously over gentleman Anthony Florio here for the Phenom Michael Bullock, for the Twisted Angel Didi Woodson, and in spirit, good old MF Michael Fletcher, and the Hardcore Pipe Bomb Derek Ferreira. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up Fortune Forest style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Monday. And until tomorrow night for Ridiculously Raw, you've been watching this special edition of Ridiculously Raw, the Fastlane 2017 recap right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube.com. And remember, like I always say, no matter what anyone tells you, wrestling is indeed actually real. Good night, everybody. And Raw, wake up, please. Enough.